Hi, my name is Maripili Rodriguez, and I'm going to talk about what I've learned this semester, what I'm going to take with me in my professional life, and also what I learned about myself in the personal assets. First, I'm going to start off with what I learned about myself. I learned that I don't always use effective communication. For example, like you need to know when to use texts, messaging, or emailing, or calling, or face to face. Like for example, if you're like ending a relationship or like breaking up with a boyfriend, for example, you probably shouldn't do that on text, even if you're scared to confront someone. um I also realized that my language should be more powerful. I apparently have powerless language, which isn't good. Especially for the professional world, you definitely want to be confident and direct with the way you speak, because that comes off better than like someone that's not really sure and doubts themselves. I also learned that I was guilty of being a mindless listener, which I guess that's fine sometimes when you're tired, but when someone's confiding in you and you really need to be mindful and really give them your entire attention, and if you're going to give them advice, to make sure that you're educated on the topic. But yeah, I need to be better with listening. I also don't manage conflict well. I use the avoidance strategy. Not good. Unless it's like a relationship that's hurting you and you want to terminate the relationship, but you really shouldn't use the avoidance strategy. That's just not good. I'm also need to be more aware of my body language, like slouching, eye contact, all of that's really important. So those are 5 things I learned about myself this semester. Then 5 concepts that really stuck with me was paraphrasing. Um, Paraphrasing at in the semester we did a assignment, and we did you had to pick a topic on like a something you didn't agree on with someone, like have a heated discussion. And using paraphrasing, I really got to see the other side of like that person's point of view, because usually when I talk to someone and I'm having a heated discussion, I really don't hear them out and I'm really close-minded. But after using the paraphrasing technique, I realized how beneficial it was. It was pretty awkward at first because I'm not used to paraphrasing everything, but when I had to repeat everything, I really got to understand what the other person was trying to say, and I was like, oh wow, that does make sense. Maybe I should be more open-minded. Then also choosing the best way and time to express your feelings. So if you're pissed off at someone, really calm down, stop, think about really what you want to say. Like, don't be all rash and say something horrible that's just going to make the situation worse. Like, really sit down, calm down, and think about what you want to do. And also, that I also learned that the best way to manage conflict is not the avoidance strategy like I thought, like what I do. It's collaboration, which you should, like, it's not always possible, obviously, to satisfy like both parties, but you should really try to. And it's definitely the best way to manage conflict. Also, the stages of relationship development, which I have a picture of right here, perfectly explains it. It's a model that NAP created, and it explains how relationships grow and last, also how they end. And in this diagram, you can see the 10 different stages. And obviously, depending on the relationship, you might skip stages, like you're not going to go through all of them, but it was really interesting to go into detail of all the different stages and learn about them individually. Also, another thing I learned that really stuck with me was the self-fulfilling prophecy, because I'm usually really negative, so that's not good. Because, for example, like if I'm going into an interview and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to do horrible, then I'm probably going to do horrible. I'm going to be so anxious of how horrible I'm going to do on the interview that the nerves will get to me and I'll do bad. But if I would have been positive about it, then the self-fulfilling prophecy, I probably would have done pretty well on it. So then there's 6 things that I'm going to take with me from this class on my professional life. Well, a lot of the things we learned about are really important for the future, but these are the 6 things that really stuck with me. Our language in social media. So like when you're sending an email to, even now, like a professor, or in the future like your boss, you really need to have the correct email etiquette, because if not, they're just not going to take you seriously. And we did a project on how to write a correct email, so that was really helpful and beneficial. Also, using powerful, direct language. I need to learn how to do this because, like I said earlier, I'm more shy. So I use powerless language, but in the professional world, you really need to be direct and use powerful language. Also, a very good thing to be aware of, like I said earlier, the nonverbal communication. Like when you go to a job interview, I found a perfect picture of all the nonverbal communication things you need to do. So, your posture, your eye contact, what you're wearing, a firm handshake, even your tone of voice is important. Like when you're in a job interview, these are all perfect things of like, you should make this checklist and just go over it before you go into a job interview so you really make a good impression. And then I also listening, like I said before, the paraphrasing. It's a great way of listening, and that it's not always easy. And just for the future, you should really be mindful again on listening and taking it seriously because someone's confiding in you. And again, like I said earlier, that if you're going to give advice, don't give advice on something you're not educated on because that's not good. And then the last thing that I'm going to take with me is the not clinging on to first impressions. I'm really guilty of doing this. And it's just not fair to the other person. Yes, first impressions are important, but sometimes like that person might not be having a good day and it's not fair to cling on to that impression because that's not a true evaluation of that person. Like you don't know what they're going through that day and it's just not fair to hold on to that. So those are all the things I learned and I had a really great semester and I really enjoyed this class. So thank you.